In this section, I will introduce the advanced surface. It is very important for surface creation. The first part is to show you what's the advanced surface. Advanced surface is a surface with higher requirements according to different needs. There have 3 surfaces here: G2 continuous surface, transitional surface, and 5-sided surface. Some of these are mentioned before, but without a doubt, among of these belong to the advanced surface. So how can we create the advanced surface? There have some requirements. Firstly, create the high-quality splines. It is a base for the advanced surface. Secondly, have the skills for creating complicated surfaces. Finally, we need to use the tool to check the continuity of surfaces. I will start with the frame spline. The frame spline is like the skeleton of the human body. Only having the appearance is useless. We can create the unique shape with the skeleton. The same as the surface creation. After we get the outline, we need to create the surface after creating the frame splines. There have some using tips. The first is when we meet the 5-sided surface. We need to divide it into 2 areas with 1 spline to get good quality surfaces. The second is spline can control the shape. So suitable splines can get the good quality surfaces. Next is the curvature comb. I mention it in the basic module. Now I show you how to adjust the quality of the curve. You can see this curve. In the left segment of this curve, the curvature changes rapidly from small to large. In the right segment of this curve, the curvature changes more uniformly from small to large. So the quality of the right segment of the curve is better than the left segment. We can adjust the spline according to this method in our daily design. If you find the inflection point on the curvature comb, it means the order is not enough. We need to increase the degree of the curve. Next, I introduce the constraints on the curve. The commonly used constraints are perpendicular, tangent, and equal curvature. Why do we need to add the constraints? For example, if you don't add the perpendicular before you mirror the surface, you will find the continuity is G0, both of them at the end. If you add, the continuity is G1 even G2. So we must add the corresponding constraints to ensure the quality of the shape. And the surface continuity should correspond to the curve. Otherwise, the created surface will deviate from the curve. After introducing the curve, next, I introduce the surface. I mention how to create the basic surface by the basic command. But if we meet the complicated surface, we maybe don't know how to create it. So, in this section, I will introduce how to create a complicated surface, such as the shape of the hairdryer. If you don't have any idea, you may don't know how to create it. So I show you some ideas to you for these complicated surfaces. We can divide this hairdryer into 3 parts. The surface 1 and the surface 2 can be created directly. Only the connected surface needs to modify specially. Isn't it clear? Don't worry, next I will show you the specific steps to create it. First, create surface 1 and surface 2, and then trim the face 1 like this. The trimming spline needs to be adjusted that make the connected surface have good quality. Create the lines that connected surface 1 and surface 2. The lines must be added the constraints. Finally, create the connected surface and add the constraints. The hairdryer's shape is completed. This shape is not difficult but needs a clear idea. Next, I will introduce the 3-sided surface. I mentioned early that if you don't do any operations for the 3-sided surface, the thicken command or shell command may fail. Why is this? You can use ISO curve on face command to check the 3-sided surface. You can see the convergence at this point when the 3-sided surface is created. This is the reason. So we need to trim the surface, which includes the convergence point, and then patch the surface. After finishing these operations, this surface can be thickened. Next, let me introduce the transitional surface. The transitional surface is a classic surface that includes visible traces and invisible traces. In the zebra stripes, the top place is G0 continuity and the down place is G2 continuity. This is the specific operations. The key commands are offset, trim and curve mesh. I will show how to create the transitional surface in ZW3D. Finally, it is a checking tool surface continuity. You can use this command to check the continuity of the surface. Only select the surfaces and then set check the continuity. The result will display. Okay, all of these are the advanced surface. Let's move on ZW3D to show more detail to you. Okay, let's create this hair dryer. Firstly, we need to check this model. It is a symmetrical model, so we just create half of it. And you can see, there have some special areas. So I will create this special area after finishing the hair dryer profile. Okay, let's start to draw the profile of this hair dryer. I divide this hair dryer into 3 parts: top area, bottom area, and connection area. Now, create a sketch to draw the splines of the top area. Convert to control point curve. Adjust the spline carefully and patiently. Hide the curvature comb to make the spline clear. Okay, the first spline is completed. The second spline is similar to the first one. We can increase the degree makes the spline smoother. Convert the curve type and adjust it. We need more patience to adjust it, which makes this spline more fit to the edge of the shape. Display the curve comb to check. The curvature comb is not good. We still need to adjust the spline to enhance the quality of the line. Okay, the splines of this view are finished. Next, we create the splines on the other view. Hide the original shape. I refer to the XZ plane and the points to create a datum plane. Create a sketch base on this datum plane. Refer to the line to get 2 intersection points. Display the model to refer to the relevant spline. The profile seems to be an arc. So we can create the arc directly. Another spline is the same as the previous spline. Create a new plane. Create the sketch. Get the intersection points and reference line. Finally, create the arc through the intersection points. Next, we create its frames. The operation is similar to the case of the spoon. The sequence is that, firstly, creates a datum plane. In this case, we have an XZ plane, so we can use it to create a frame directly. Secondly, refer to the intersection points and intersection splines. And then, draw the spline through the intersection spline. Finally, adjust it. Don't forget to set the 90 degrees on the position where will need to be mirrored. It seems to need to add a control point. Increase the degree of the spline. Adjust the spline to fit the referenced splines. Okay, the first frame is finished. The second frame is almost the same as the first frame. I won't repeat it again. Please follow up on my operations to complete it. This spline can control the top area surface to fit the original shape. Create the surface base on the outlines. And set the normal constraints to first U and last U. The surface of the top area is completed. Display the solid to check. It is good. Next, let's create the bottom area. The surface creation of the bottom area is similar to the top area. I won't repeat it. Please follow up on my operations to complete it. In order to have a good look, we use the reverse command to make the same surface color. Hide the sketch. Next step, we need to create the connection area. We need to trim the top area through a spline. This spline is drawn randomly, but I still need to adjust it for getting a good quality surface of the connection area. Trim the top area by the spline. Create a sketch. Refer to the edges, and then draw the splines. Add the tangent constraints. Display the original model to check. We can see this spline doesn't fit the original edge well, so we need to adjust the spline to get them to fit the original edges better. Adjust the spline. The curvature comb is not good. We need to adjust it more patiently. But this spline doesn't fit the edge anyhow. It seems 2 control points are not enough. We can add a new one to control it. The right spline adjustment operation is the same as the left one. Okay, the connection splines are finished. Hide the sketch. Next, we create the connection surface. Please pay attention to the constraints. Okay, after the surface creation, we can switch the visual type to analysis to check the zebra stripe of the surface. You can see, the joints of the zebra stripes are connected. It means all the surfaces reach G1 continuity. We can also use the surface continuity command to check the continuity. Select these 2 surfaces and then check the position, tangent, and curvature. You can see, the result will display in the box. These 2 surfaces are tangent. Finally, we can sew them together. Okay, the surface of the hairdryer is almost completed. Next step, we need to design the special area. Display the model. Create a sketch. We hide the surface of the hairdryer to see the model better. Draw the spline and adjust it. The operation of other one is the same as the first one. You can see, the core of product design is to draw and adjust the spline. Create a connected line. Extrude this sketch to be a surface, and then use the split with face command to split the surface. I think this auxiliary surface is used for this time only, so I uncheck Keep Splitting Faces option. Okay, now, we can get the corresponding surface. We can offset this surface. Extend the face. Maybe the distance is -5 millimeters. Display the solid to check. It's great. Hide the model and go on. Draw a line, then trim the surface base on it. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I need to select the Trim to Curve to trim the surface. Okay, next, create the blend spline. Adjust its direction and weight. But it seems can't be adjusted to a good position. I decided to delete it and create a new one. Set the weight as 1. Another spline is the same as this spline. Create this four-sided surface. Maybe it is better that the continuity of these two blend splines is curvature. So I change their continuity to curvature. We also need to adjust the weight of the splines. Create the surface. The boundary constraint can be set to G2. Next, we trim these redundant surfaces. I forgot to get the trimming boundary, so I roll back the history to extend. Create a sketch. Refer to these two edges and convert them into a solid line. Draw a line connecting these two splines. Roll to the latest and extrude the trimming sketch to be a surface. Trim the two areas through the surface. Sew them as one surface. Draw the two lines. And create the relevant surfaces. Don't forget to set the constraint. Here has a big gap. Maybe the continuity only can be set G1 here. Change the continuity from G1 to G2. It seems okay. The other surface is almost the same as the first one. The continuity is G1 as well. sew them as one surface. This hairdryer has already finished 95%. The rest is to inlay the text. Create the sketch. Refer to the edge as the boundary of text. Create a ready sketch and set the point on the spline. The text can be set as ZW3D. Adjust the attribute of the text. OK, confirm it. Using the inlay command, select the inlay surface and the ready sketch. Set the direction and finally, confirm it. Let's check the effect. OK, half of the hairdryer is completed. Let's create the other side. And patch the holes. This hairdryer is finished. In short, facing the product design, the idea is very important. Normally, we can create the surface directly. But in some complicated cases, we need to have some special methods to create a high-quality surface. We need to experience more and more to get our own idea. Okay, this is all the content of this video. Thanks for your watching.